Santoyo Grand Leyenda Organic Tequila was created by me, Jesus Santoyo Amezcua Medina, as a tribute to my father, José de Jesus Santoyo Medina Acevedo, and the history, tradition, and heritage which the Santoyo name represents. It was in the mid-1800s that my great-grandparents, Francisco Santoyo and Juana Acevedo, migrated to Guadalajara, Mexico. It was then where the love for the land, soil, trees, and flowers blossomed. My great-grandfather, Francisco Santoyo, spent his entire life learning the variations of plants, flowers, and trees, which the rich volcanic soils of Guadalajara produced. My great-grandfather Francisco worked as a gardener for some of the wealthiest families in Mexico, and it was during this time where he was able to master the art of cultivation. His oldest son, José de Jesus Santoyo, my grandfather, shared the same love for the land, becoming one of the most famous handcrafting carpenters in Baja California in the early 1900s. The heritage, traditions, and respect for the land my great-grandfather taught his son, José Jesus Santoyo, enabled him to handcraft some of the most beautiful cathedrals in Tijuana, Baja California. The lessons passed down from one generation to another, and the meaning of being a member of the Santoyo family, along with its rich origins and spiritual connections to the lands of Guadalajara, is what makes Santoyo Grand Leyenda Organic Tequila a truly unique spirit. My father, José de Jesus Santoyo, was raised to follow the Santoyo traits: loyalty, proud, responsibility, integrity, hardworking, caring, persistent, and the most important among all, family. It is these Santoyo traits which inspire me to share my family's traditions, the love for Mexico, to create the first ultra-premium, estate-grown, organic tequila, while paying tribute to a legendary man, my father, José de Jesus Santoyo Medina Acevedo, and the significance of the Santoyo history. My quest is to produce the best and first ultra-premium organic tequila while honoring our family's tradition. The journey begins with identifying geographical areas within the approved denomination of origin to grow Pueblo Blue agave. During this process, we need to verify that these lands have not been exposed to chemicals or pesticides spraying for at least 4 years prior to planting the first agave plant. We hired an independent firm called Agricel to verify and register our organic agave plants with the local governing agency called Consejo Regulador del Tequila, also known as CRT. This company uses the latest technology to examine our soil and agave plants in order to certify that our crop never came in contact with any chemicals, pesticides, neighbors' chemical overspray, or contaminated water runoff created by the natural layout of the land. This step is one of 2 requirements in order to achieve the organic certification in several countries such as United States, Japan, Canada, and Europe. The Consejo Regulador del Tequila, also known as the CRT, only acknowledges the following states as their approved denomination of origin to grow Pueblo Blue agave: Jalisco being the largest, Tamaulipas, Michoacán, Nayarit, and Guanajuato. In Jalisco, there are 2 main regions where agave is grown: Los Altos and Tequila. Some of the biggest difference between these 2 regions are the following. Los Altos region tends to be more of a flat terrain with red clay content soil, which gives the agave plant more of a fruity and floral profile. The Tequila region tends to be more steep, hillside slopes with volcanic soil, giving the agave plant a more complex profile of herbal and spice characteristics. We chose to grow our agave plant in the region of Tequila because of 3 major factors. 1, the fact that we are organic, which the natural hillsides and slopes of this region helps us provide the necessary protection from overspray of chemicals and pesticides from our neighboring farmers. 2, the volcanic soil found in this region gives the agave plant a more complex taste profile unmatched to any other region. 3, in keeping with traditions, It was in this region where the first agave plant was harvested and the Mexican national drink, tequila, was born. Honoring the Santoyo traits and taking into consideration the organic factor, our agave plant takes about 10 to 12 years for it to fully mature and be ready to harvest. The planting, tending, and harvesting of the agave plant still remains a manual effort, unchanged by modern technology while following the traditions of hundreds of years ago. One truly unique aspect about our tequila is that all the agave is estate grown, which means we own the land and take care of the agave plants from the first infant stage till it's ready to harvest and be removed from Mother Earth. It's especially unique because most of the other tequila brands do not have estate grown agave, but rather purchase the agave from other farmers, which typically use chemicals and pesticides to speed up the maturity of the agave plant, waiting only 4 to 6 years prior to harvesting. During the 10 to 12 years it takes our agave plant to mature, we never lose sight of our plants. We care for them as if they were our own children. Once the agave plant has come to its maturity level, the jimadores take this treasure out of the soil using a tool called coa, removing all the leaves from the agave plant. Once this process is done, what we used to call an agave plant is now called la piña. At this stage is where you can start to identify a high quality tequila versus a commercialized product. Two major factors to consider at this stage are: 1. The average weight of the piña. 2. Most importantly, the sugar content or yield of the piña. Since we are one of the few organic growing processors, we have found that our piñas tend to be a lot heavier in weight and in most cases have double the sugar content than your typical piña. We contribute this success to the organic growing process we undertake, and the end result is unparalleled to any agave plant, which gets me one step closer to fulfilling my quest in creating the best organic tequila. Our distillery is located in Amatitan, where the native people and historical artifacts argue that the first distillery and production of tequila, known as vino mezcal in those days, originated in these lands. However, there is no argument that tequila was produced in Jalisco, Mexico, but there is still an ongoing debate in which town is responsible for the first production of tequila. My town Amatitan is less than 2 miles from the town of Tequila, so you can imagine the tense debate between both towns. Unfortunately, due to the fact that the town of Tequila carries the name Tequila, most people recognize it as the town where tequila was born. But don't say that to the natives of Amatitan. Once a piña arrives to the distillery, the process taken here becomes very important, especially in the methods of cooking the agave. There are different types of ovens that can be used to cook the piña. One method, which is considered the commercialized or cost-efficient way of cooking the piña, is using a huge stainless steel autoclave, which acts as a huge pressure cooker, reducing the cooking time to about 6 to 7 hours. The more traditional, artisanal method of cooking the piña is using a stone brick oven, which increases the cooking time to about 38 to 42 hours. The difference between both cooking methods are pretty significant, and the following analogy is best used to describe the outcome. Imagine the result of cooking some vegetables in a steam pot or microwave versus a traditional slow cooking method of a sauté pan. The flavors of the product are unmatched. The slow cooking of the agave in the brick oven gives us the best results in obtaining the sweeter, fermentable sugars. Once the steam in the oven is turned off, the heat inside the brick is so hot because we let the piñas cook for 38 to 42 hours that we must let the piñas sit inside the oven for another 6 to 8 hours. We call this process the healing period because we let the temperature naturally decrease, which gives the piñas the opportunity to finalize its unique characteristic taste profile. After this period has passed, the piñas are ready for the next step in the process to make our ultra premium organic tequila. The piñas are then shredded, their juices pressed out, and put into fermentation tanks. The juices at this point inside the fermentation tanks are called mosto. Due to our tequila being organic, we only use a natural fermentation process, meaning no yeast is added to speed up the process, which increases the resting time from 24 to 36 hours to our organic method of 4 to 5 days on average, but sometimes up to 1 week. Once the fermentation is completed, we double distill our tequila, producing our ultra premium organic silver tequila. Our reposado, añejo, and extra añejo are aged on the lightly charred French white oak barrel. While undertaking all these processes, the distillery must adhere to strict guidelines in order to keep the organic certification. At this stage is where 100% organic products can be identified. Not only do the fields and agave plants need to be certified organic, but the distillery also needs to be certified organic. This means no other type of piña can be produced in the same oven, shredder, fermentation tank, distillery pot, or aging barrel that have not been certified organic. This is important because if non-organic products are processed in the same equipment, the chemicals and pesticides used on the agave fields and or the plants can contaminate our equipment, which in return would compromise our organic tequila. Lately there has been an increase of tequilas claiming to be organic, but unless the agave fields, the agave plants, and the distillery are certified organic, they cannot claim to be 100% organic. So they only claim to be 100% organic blue agave versus 100% organic tequila. This process is highly monitored by the CRT to protect the consumer from being confused. My quest in honoring my father, Jose de Jesus Santoyo, and the traits which the Santoyo name represents led me to create the first ultra-premium, estate-grown organic tequila. When drinking our tequila, remember what it represents: loyalty, proud, responsibility, integrity, hardworking, caring, persistent, and the most important among all, family. Salud, my friends.